It's day 307, it's about 1 degrees outside, and the boiler's just texted me saying that there's a fault. So I've come out to have a look, and it's gone off the screen, well you can't see it anyway, but we're in high O2, so that means that there's no fuel in it because it's not enough fuel for it to burn, so the oxygen temperature's shot up, the oxygen's gone up because the oxygen's not getting burned. So I'm going to go and have a look. I suspect that we've got a blockage in here where the wood chip falls down into this auger that rises up. So we'll go and have a look now. Yeah, the wood chip doesn't seem to be falling down into the auger below. So what I'll do is I'll isolate this first auger here with a switch down there, and then I'll get a stick or a bar and I'll poke that wood chip down and see if we can see what's going on underneath. Yeah, so you can see the auger turning down the bottom there. This wood chip is just bridged, so it just needs a bit of a poke. And it should feed itself with some more fuel and start to work. Sometimes it can get a stick blocking them lasers down there, so it thinks there's fuel there and doesn't turn on, but really there's not. So the odd time you just give it a bit of a poke and it'll work. That's okay now. There's just them two lasers there that seem to be seeing each other properly now. We've turned that auger on now, and that's pushing the wood chip to the middle into what we call a drop zone, and it's dropping down then into the other auger below. And now this ram started going in and out, pulling wood chip through to drop into this trough. See it working like that. So now this, oh, it's all automatic, there you go. The auger's bringing the chip to the middle, dropping it down the hole in the centre to the other auger below. And then every time the top auger gets empty, these rams come on automatically and scrape more wood chip in. So there they are moving again now, them rams. These going out. That might be better. There we go. So two go out and one comes in, and then one goes out and two come in. There's three of them, and it just walks the wood chip in and it augers it down to the centre. So now we've got a pile of wood chip in there now, and it's just about to ignite. You can see it burning in the corner on the left. That's a diesel burner making it ignite, and then in a second the whole pile will turn to all flames as the whole lot gets going. Can't get any. Is that working now? Might see a bit better now. It's all starting to light now on the right as well. So sort of like 20 seconds later now, after I stopped that last video, there you go, it's all lit now. So happy days. We'll now get some heat going again. So if you look on the temperature now of the boiler, it's at 41 degrees and it's rising all the time now. So that's good because it means it's lit and it's now heating the water back up again. So quite an easy fix. Sometimes it can get logs stuck in that auger, and then that causes all sorts of trouble, and you've got to sort of like chip them out with an axe or something. But anyway, that was just a bit of a blockage, just a bit of probably like fluffy chip that had jammed together. Yeah, so this was yesterday's quiz question. Obviously it says oversize on the front because we put it on a big tractor. It is in fact a weight block for ballast, so it's to balance the tractor out when we've got heavy machines on the back. Lots of people guessed that right, but no one actually guessed what was inside it. And I don't think even anyone got the weight right, but the weight is it's exactly 2 ton, and it's full of borite. Now borite is a very heavy, kind of like sandy kind of substance. That's where we hitch it onto the tractor. That's where we move it with the pallet forks, and that's where the top link goes on. Yeah, borite's like a really heavy rock dust, and the bulk density of it it's nearly sort of can be up to like twice as heavy as sand. So that thing is actually hollow inside. We put a little bit of scrap in it first, and then we filled it with borite and packed it in tight. Made it about 4 or 5 years ago, but it's quite good because it weighs a lot, but it's not really big on the front of the tractor and doesn't stick out much. So when we're coming out of yard gates or field gateways, the tractor's not on the white line before we can see what's going on. So it means that we're not writing cars out, pulling in and out of gates, out of fields. And when it's a tractor, not a tractor, when it turns into a field. Some of you might know it's my birthday tomorrow, the big 40, but life begins at 40, so that's fine. Lads have got me a present. It looks like biscuits or chocolates, but it's not. It's flip the camera. It is 100-year anniversary pliers and wire cutter snap-on set. They're quite well made. Well, they're really well made. And with a luminous orange as well, so they won't get lost, hopefully. Like something kids watch on YouTube, this, isn't it? Unboxing toys. It's a bit hard to see because it's still a bit damp, but it's not leaking anymore. So we fixed that crack with some spray foam there, and then Andrew painted some stuff on the top of the roof, a bit like a fiberglass resin down that cracked sheet. So now we haven't got a damp patch on the floor anymore, which is good. And it was also leaking near the radio as well, which wasn't good. This is today's quiz question. What's this used for? If you turn this end, the other end turns very slowly. So if you know what it is, click like. If you're guessing, leave a comment in the comments box. It was dark yesterday, but we've brought about 230 tonne of wheat round now into this shed. So we've got it stacked up behind them blocks into this corner, and then we've got a pedestal in it. So we've got a fan in the cherry picker now ready to go on top. Plugs into the roof, put the temperature probe in, and if it gets warm or the nights get colder, it'll turn the fans on automatically and keep the grain cool and keep it conditioned. These concrete blocks, these are some that I made a mould for a few years ago. Uses about a 0.8, I think, of a cube of concrete. The 2.4 metres high, because that's how big the piece of steel was. Sorry, no, 2.5 metres high, and about, I don't know, 60 centimetres wide at the bottom. And that's just a drainage tube from just water pipe. And that's what we put the pallet fork slot in to move them around. And then the 1.25 metres long. They do get a bit chipped if they get knocked around, but they're handy and they can hold back a lot of weight. So if you look down there now, there's obviously no grain this side, but on this side we've got the grain at the far end piled up to sort of 1.25 metres, and they haven't moved. So they're really handy because of the shape of them. They get a downward force as well with the grain pushing on them, keeps them stuck to the floor. So we've got about, I don't know, 25 of these that I've made over the years. I did make them all once to try and make 8 at once, but it burst and they all ended up a bit of a funny shape. And I don't know whether, oh, here's one here that burst. So it ended up bursting, and then it ended up with a join in it. So I made them flat on the floor and then stood them up again afterwards. If anyone wants, I can show you the mould another day as well, how we do it. That one's got quite badly chipped, but it still works. So is that one. But that's because they're getting on and they get knocked about a bit. We've still got the flood at the back of the yard. It's sort of gone down a little bit. There's a couple of ducks on it there, you can see. They're making funny patterns in the water. No swans today though. The pump's obviously running because it has dropped a little bit, because you can see a bit more of that sign in the centre of the screen now, because you couldn't yesterday. So if it's still there tomorrow, which it will be, I might get the little rowing boat on there and take Olivia on there and have a bit of a play. Now I've got that little electric outboard motor for it. A few people thought that the weight block that was yesterday's quiz question was used for when we're escorting big tractors around and different things and combines. We actually have this that we put on the front of the tractors when we're doing that. Just warns people, sort of like one bend ahead, so that they know to keep over. Otherwise they look at you funny when you kind of sat in the road with a tractor waving at people to keep to the one side. Whereas if you've got that on the front, they know something's coming. You keep out your way, helps us move the combine around a lot faster and a lot safer as well. I just googled out of interest the width of an average car. Anyway, a Volkswagen Golf is about 1.8 metres wide. Anyway, the combine, when we move that on the road, it's 3.49 metres wide. So it's nearly double the width of a standard car. So that's why we have to be very careful on the road with it, and we have a sign in front and we escort it where we go. So then people know. So when they come around the bend, they know we're taking up twice as much room. So we're basically, when you meet a combine, it's like meeting a car, overtaking another car, and you've still got to get past it as well. So it is a big problem when we move them round. If anyone wondered what that rattling was that just started then, it's the ash auger discharging automatically ash out the boiler. Every few minutes it runs for a few seconds just to keep pulling the ash out, spits it into this tub. Anyway, it fired up then because I was filming near it. Kind of always happens. That's about it for today. Bit of a slow, damp day. Picked Olivia up before. and as we were coming down the motorway we could see acres and acres flooded. So she filmed it with her iPod, so I'll put that on and you can actually see some amateur footage and see how bad the flooding is just round here. This is on the sides of the River Mersey. So I'll see you all tomorrow. We're just driving down the M56 now. We've got the River Mersey on our left hand side and you can just see acres and acres and acres that are flooded. If you just look at the sat nav, Olivia, with the camera, put the camera at the sat nav and people can see exactly where we are. You see the water there, and then there's that, but this water now is over here, so put the camera back that way. Got an amateur camera girl today, rather than me. But yeah, there's just, the whole place is still flooded. There we go. Yeah, it's on now, yeah. There's miles and miles and miles of water. Literally, I think we've passed about 3,000 acres underwater here now, if you work it out in sort of square miles. Just low.
Yeah.
So this is where it was the other day on the tractor. The flood water's receded a little bit now. Just let the camera higher, Olivia. It's obviously, you can see the ditch now in the middle there, whereas the other day you couldn't even see the banks of it, it's just all water.